Hey everybody, Coach Abel here coming at you today with another big significant webinar. We're going to talk about your immune system and how you can strengthen your immune system arsenal for the ongoing war against viruses, because that's what we're up against. Lots of people, lots of experts are calling this war with the invisible enemy or whatever. But the truth is there's been fear of pandemics for years now, and it just ended up coming true. So this is one that I've wanted to do for a while, but it had to be topical. So of course now with the pandemic, it is very topical. And we're going to talk about how you strengthen your immune arsenal for the ongoing war against viruses. That's the title here. And if you like this video, I hope you'll share it, like it, subscribe, all that stuff. But I'm going to talk to you about how to create your nutritional arsenal for fighting viruses. As you can see behind me is the textbook, Modern Nutrition in Health and Disease, where research has pretty much been on top of this for a lot of years. And of course, talking about immune system, etc., etc., is pretty boring stuff in academia, but now people are starting to get the message, and this is the important thing. So I'm going to get to some how-tos and what you can do to really, up the game and weaponize your immune system in the face of viruses and protection and things like that. But let's get into the preamble. I'll show you a few studies. And I'm going to keep the studies actually brief this time. I'm just going to present them to you and then move on. So one thing people are starting to learn because of the pandemic is that it's best to always be proactive with your health and wellness than it is to be reactive. And that, as Ben Franklin said a long time ago, an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. And we're seeing that now. We saw it in people who weren't ready for gyms to shut down. And while I was advising clients for years to slowly and surely accumulate stuff for a home gym, a lot of people just ignored that. They weren't considering a home gym, and then when their gyms closed, they felt like they had no options. And the same is true in terms of being prepared for your own health and wellness in the face of an oncoming enemy in the form of viruses and infections, etc. So in this webinar, I'm going to show you simple ways to strengthen your immune system arsenal for the ongoing war against viruses. Because let's face it, this isn't going to end anytime soon, and it's not going to be the first that they're predicting in terms of waves of potential pandemics coming at us down the road. So you can't just be reactive and wait for a vaccine for every little bug that comes around, because as you can see, vaccines are a couple years away from whenever a potential bug appears. So they talk about people with underlying preconditions, underlying health conditions, and what those things mean almost always have in common. It means that their immune systems are already overwhelmed and or compromised. So all the more reason to weaponize your immune system, and that's what we're going to do here. So first things first, before I even get into discussing nutritional weaponry against viruses, let's also note that moderate exercise helps boost immune system function. I'm going to put this up on the screen for you. Moderate exercise improves immunity and decreases illness rates. That's from the American Journal of Lifestyle Medicine in 2011. Therefore, folks, during any kind of virus outbreak is not the time to stop your exercise regimen. And a lot of people that have been forced to stay at home and they've just abandoned working out altogether. So you have to be vigilant about not stopping your exercise regimen. And also you have to note the word there, moderate. Moderate exercise. You do not need to be pounding your body into the ground or doubling up on your training volume just because you may be exercising at home or whatever. Because this research concluded, and this is a quote, we're going to throw that up on the screen for you to read, by far the most important finding that has emerged from exercise immunology studies during the past 2 decades is that positive immune changes take place during each bout of moderate physical activity. I'll give you time to read that and let it sink in. And note the phrase each bout. which once again reinforces my point that consistency of exercise is far more important than intensity of exercise, which, if you follow online stuff, which is all about, eye candy and things like that, you'll be led to believe the opposite. Because in fact, this same research points out that constant heavy exertion exercise can compromise immune system and make a person even more susceptible to illness. So hardcore can look good and it can sound good and it makes for great sound bites and motivating video clips and all the rest of it. But for overall health and well-being and immune system advantage, moderate exercise wins out. And need I say that this becomes even more relevant as we age. Consider it to be a prescription for good preventative health. So moderate exercise, even training with lighter weights and even getting out for walks, etc., because each bout has an advantage in terms of enhancing immune system function. So that's very, very, very important for preventative health and well-being, and another way to weaponize your immune system for future bouts of the war and the battle against viruses. So moving on, how to create and strengthen your own nutritional arsenal for fighting a virus attack. So I'll put that heading up there for you to see. How to create and strengthen your own nutritional arsenal for fighting a virus attack. Nutritional and immunity arsenal for fighting a virus attack. Food and eating choices, of course, can have an effect on immune system function, or another way of saying it, colorful, real plant foods and immune system function are immuno-enhancing instead of immuno-degrading. And I'm just going to give you a few highlights of some certain research I pulled out below, just to give you an idea that research does exist in this particular realm of study. So this particular piece of research from the British Journal of Nutrition in 1999, we'll throw this up on the screen for you. Modulation of human T lymphocyte functions by the consumption of carotenoid-rich vegetables. In this study, within 2 weeks of fruit and veggie deficient diet, cutting out fruits and veggies for just 2 weeks, the immune system plummeted and nosedived. Yet just adding back in 1 glass of tomato juice brought the immune system back again. So that's a really relevant study that shows you the presence and absence of various kinds of food that you take in can and will have an effect on overall immune system health. And we want to weaponize our immune system as much as possible, have it be as robust as it possibly can. And now here's another study. I'm going to give you time to absorb this. Supplementation of a low carotenoid diet with tomato or carrot juice modulates immune system functions in healthy men. This is from the Annual Nutrition and Metabolism Journal 2003. So that's really important as well. And again, what you see is healthy, healthy foods, plant foods in particular, modulate immune system functions and help regulate immune system functions in a very healthy and productive way. So that's really important as well. So we're starting to get a look at the types of foods that will help you enhance or optimize your immune system function, which you want and which you need in the face of virus protection, or in the desire of virus protection. Next, magic mushrooms. Magic mushrooms, no, not that kind of magic mushrooms, but yes, indeed, the mushrooms do and can have an effect on optimizing immune system function. So this article, The Immunobiology of Mushrooms, take a look at that from 2008. And the conclusion there is mushrooms have a positive stimulatory effect on the immune system. And then there's this study Dietary intake of white button mushroom accelerates salivary immunoglobulin A secretion in healthy volunteers. That's from the Journal of Nutrition in 2012. Put that up there for you to see. And I'll just tell you, but without all the science gobbledygook there, immunoglobulin A is our first line of defense, antibodies in the face of virus attack or potential virus attack. 1 week of eating mushrooms in this study spiked immunoglobulin A by 50%, and this level stayed elevated for a week even after they stopped eating the mushrooms. So imagine what eating mushrooms on a regular basis could do for enhancing your immune system. So really important there. We'll put that up on the screen again for you to see. Dietary intake of white button mushrooms accelerates salivary immunoglobulin A secretion in healthy volunteers. So really important that you can get a spike as much as 50% and have that spike stay elevated for a long period of time is very important. So, all right, we're starting to form a picture. Moderate exercise, certain kinds of foods. Let's move on to the next kind of foods. Absolute importance of cruciferous veggies. The cruciferous veggies, for those who may not know, cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, kale, collard greens, Brussels sprouts, and all their components, sulforaphanes, etc. I'll just put this one on from the journal Nature Reviews in 2012. Dietary influences on intestinal immunity. It's all about the microbiome, and I've been talking about that in previous webinars that you can go check out. But the healthier the microbiome, the healthier the immune system tends to be as well, and vice versa. And we'll go back to now another study from the Medical Journal of Australia, 1983, that's in the book behind me, that directly speaks to acute respiratory infections like the coronavirus. Tends to be the worst once it becomes respiratory. And this book included lower risk of infections with higher intake of fruits and veggies, and specifically I'm going to say in terms of the veggie department, cruciferous veggies in particularly. So that's another thing there. So we've got all different colors of the rainbow in terms of fruits and veggies that are going to help you weaponize your immune system, and that's very important as well. And finally, the biggie, the spike, whatever you want to call it, nutritional yeast. Put this up on the screen. A very, very tasty plant-based condiment that everyone in the plant-based community uses as a condiment or a topping or whatever. Without getting too sciencey for you all and bogged down in jargon, the main component of nutritional yeast is something called beta-glucans, and they're the main immune system boosting components of nutritional yeast. Not to mention, nutritional yeast is a fantastic source of vitamin B12, and most people tend to be deficient in B12, whether they are plant-based eaters or not. And that's, I've done previous webinars on that. So we're going to look at this study from the European Journal of Nutrition in 2013. Yeast beta-glucan helps to maintain the body's defense against pathogens. Boom. This is a double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled, multicentric study in healthy subjects. Put that up on the screen for you and let you absorb that. So what we see here is that the beta-glucans in nutritional yeast help build our defense against pathogens and reduced respiratory infections like the common cold, but beyond the common cold as well. And then I'm going to put this other study on the screens from Food and Nutrition Sciences in 2012, a double-blind randomized placebo-controlled nutritional study using an insoluble yeast beta-glucan to improve the immune defense system. So you can see here, specifically designed to enhance your immune defense system. Let's weaponize your immune defense system. And not only did the group in this double blind, not only did the group receiving the yeast have less incidence of common cold, but the beta-glucan group also significantly reduced typical cold symptoms like sore throat, difficulty swallowing, raw throat, runny noses, etc. So you can see that the beta-glucan is well known and well studied in terms of having effects on the immune system that you would, they are desirous effects on the immune system. And then this study shows overall wellness effects to baker's yeast and nutritional yeast as well. Overall wellness is very important in the face of trying to resist or fight off stress and or viruses. So this study, we'll put this up on here for you to see, from the Journal of the American College of Nutrition in 2012. Baker's yeast beta-glucan supplement reduces upper respiratory symptoms and improves mood state in stressed women. Not only does it reduce upper respiratory symptoms, it also improves mood state. Wow, that's pretty heavy duty stuff. So not only did the subjects report fewer upper respiratory symptoms, but they also reported better overall well-being, mood state. All right, and they had superior mental and physical energy levels when compared to the placebo group. In other words, they reported an increase in vitality. So that's really important as well, and that's just from beta-glucan and in the nutritional yeast or baker's yeast, and that's as a supplement. So imagine using it as a main component of your diet in some way or another. Now, these mental well-being effects were also reported in this rather famous study of marathon runners. We'll put this up on the screen for you from the Journal of Sports Science and Medicine in 2009. Effects of beta-glucan on upper respiratory tract infection symptoms and mood state in marathon athletes. So not only did the runners receiving the yeast experience less infection from a compromised immune system in the post-race period, but they too, like the study above on stressed women, they also reported better moods and mental state, just like the study above that I mentioned with stressed women, and that they reported an increase in vitality as well. So these study in post-marathon race, this well-known study, and these people who received the nutritional yeast or the beta-glucan reported significantly better or more vigor, defined as overall mental and physical energy combined. And they reported significantly more vigor than did the placebo group. Now, I can also speak to this element from my old bodybuilding days. I always used to make a note how in the post-contest period after competing, how many of the competitors I knew or that I coached would end up getting sick with some kind of infection, whether it was the flu or bronchitis or a cold or anything like that. In that post-event period, when the diet's over and they go back to trying to eat normal foods, etc., a whole large percentage of them would get sick. And I saw that through my whole career. And of course, back then, no one in the bodybuilding competitive community was supplementing with anything like nutritional yeast. So that's really important as well, and that is something that you should keep in mind. So another study speaks to the dual action positive effect of nutritional yeast. This dual action is a bit different, not just in terms of vigor and enhancing immune system function, but also as an anti-inflammatory agent. Let's put this up here on the screen for you to see from the Nutritional Journal 2014. Immune modulator effects of dietary yeast beta-glucan. In other words, nutritional yeast. And let's put this quote up here for you to see after you've looked at the study. I'll give you a second, and then we'll take down the name of the study, and we'll put up the quote. And the quote here from the researchers: on the one hand, the substances elicit and amplify or activate the immune reaction as shown in the prevention of infections, folks. On the other hand, they are capable of reducing the inflammatory reaction by inducing anti-inflammatory processes. So take a look at that quote. I'll read it without my own interjections. On the one hand, the substances elicit the immune reaction as shown in the prevention of infections. On the other hand, they are capable of reducing the inflammatory reaction by inducing anti-inflammatory processes. This is wow and holy crap stuff, people, because we also know that controlling inflammation is another way that you can keep your immune system function very robust, because it's not fighting against inflammation, etc., etc. So this is really, really big, important stuff. So improving and strengthening and weaponizing your immune system in the event of having to face future viruses, etc., and invasion of viruses and strong viruses, then what we see here is moderate exercise and the contribution of a whole bevy of specific and general foods, fruits and veggies, mushrooms, and nutritional yeast. So the conclusion here, I'm going to put this up on the screen for you and make it dance and make it pop, and hopefully you can copy and paste and all the rest of it. So the conclusion: to strengthen and weaponize your immune system arsenal to help fight the way against viruses, eat plenty of fruits and vegetables, regularly consume mushrooms and cruciferous veggies, and get to using nutritional yeast as a condiment and as an excellent vitamin B12 source. So take a look at that conclusion, and you can see I used a spattering of the research that's available. And if you look behind me to that huge textbook, over 3,000 pages long, Modern Nutrition in Health and Disease, they talk about immunology all the time. So does other research. Things like mushrooms have been studied, especially in Eastern countries, for hundreds of years. Mostly been used anecdotally to prevent illness, etc. So you can see there is research, there is proof of specific ways that you can enhance and strengthen and weaponize your immune system arsenal against the oncoming likelihood of future viruses. So listen to me now. This advice is even more important if you're someone with pre-existing conditions, or you know someone with pre-existing conditions, because the next powerful virus could have you fighting for your life or worse. So this is why this is a topical, it's important, and it's something for you to consider. And yes, the research does exist to support these specific elements of addressing how to enhance and weaponize your own immune system. Because who knows when the next virus may strike, and we can't just wait around for vaccines that takes years to develop in terms of being a specific vaccine for a specific virus. But being proactive with your health and look for prevention through empowered behaviors and the choices you make and the choices you don't make. Once again, the whole food plant-based diet seems to be the path to wellness and illness prevention, as does moderate exercise. So again, take a look at your meals and make sure that they have a lot of bright colors in them from whole food plant-based elements. If your food is more beige than colorful, like if you go through a drive-through and you get fried chicken or chicken strips and fries, then most of your food color is beige. That's not good. So keep it to the things I mentioned above: cruciferous veggies, regular use of mushrooms, nutritional yeast, moderate exercise, and all the other things that I have mentioned as well. So hopefully that helps you. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps me to help you. It helps me get things out there for more people to consume and see and consider, and that's always important as well. So hopefully you like this video. Let's put the conclusion up there one last time for you to see. To strengthen and weaponize your immune system arsenal to help fight the way against viruses, eat plenty of fruits and vegetables, regularly consume mushrooms and cruciferous veggies, and get to using nutritional yeast as a condiment and as an excellent vitamin B12 source. So that's it from me. I hope you found this video to your liking, and I hope you found it useful and beneficial. And if that's the case, like I said, I could really appreciate a like and a subscribe and a share and all the rest of that stuff. And yeah, so I'm doing my work, trying to help you guys get along, move along, and be ahead of any curve that may be coming, positive and or negative. We got to keep it real. I'll see you all in the next video.